Hello. Okay, I want to talk about Zelda again, Ocarina of Time. And let's see, it's hard to know where to start with this. But I suppose we can start with the three first dungeons. The three first dungeons. I'm very interested in this first, section of the game, the childhood section. That's the only section I have, reviewed recently in my watch throughs. But it's very interesting because Link explores these three dungeons, and there are themes in these dungeons that I really want to explore, like similarities between them or sort of links between them somehow. And where could we start? Let's start with the Deku Tree. The Deku Tree is a good place to start because that's the first place you go. The Deku Tree, you see, I think what's intriguing me about the Deku Tree is that it's a person, essentially. The Deku Tree is a person. You talk to them. They have a face, right? You enter through their mouth. They have a face, eyes. So you might think that you're inside a person, right? That's what it leads me to think. Okay, the Deku Tree dungeon takes place inside of the Deku Tree. You're inside a person. And I guess that's intriguing to me because almost all of these three dungeons are like this. Obviously, Lord Jabu Jabu is like this. Lord Jabu Jabu takes place inside someone, right? Lord Jabu Jabu. So you're inside a person, or you're inside a body, let's say. You're inside a body of an individual being. And then Dodongo's Cavern is not. You're not inside someone, right? But I would like to argue that it is echoing this theme, because you do enter into the mouth of a fake beast, right? It's not the entire dungeon, but at least part of the dungeon, a considerable part of the dungeon, takes place inside a mouth. The mouth of some sort of a dead beast. It's a skull. It's hard to tell whether it's a skull or it's rock, whether it's a real skeleton or whether it's just a carved skeleton. I think it's probably I think it's probably a real skeleton because there is this sort of door mechanism that, I don't know, I imagine being difficult to implement with rock, but I don't think in any case, I don't think that's the point. In both cases, in a sense, it's a fake body, or it's a statue of some kind. But it's definitely an effigy that represents a body. It represents a beast. And it represents the mouth of this beast. And then you enter through that mouth. So it sort of represents the fact that the dungeon takes place inside a beast. Right? You could imagine that the dungeon is inside this mouth, and therefore you're inside the body or a body of this beast. It's interesting to me also because the Dodongo beast itself, what is he, King Dodongo, turns into stone at the end of the battle. He literally turns into a rock statue, which is what he was at the beginning, right? You enter into a rock statue, and then the boss itself, whose battle mechanism involves opening the mouth and eating things, a lot, turns into a statue, into a rock. So it's almost as if the whole thing, see, isn't that weird? Because it's saying King Dodongo itself is made of rock. at some point he is made of rock. He wasn't made of rock before, but now he is. Once he dies, he's made of rock. But it's also like he belongs to the world of the Gorons, who are creatures that are toying with the idea. Visually, they toy with the idea of being indistinguishable from rocks. When they roll around, they are like rolling rocks. They become indistinguishable from rolling rocks. They eat rocks, It's like their body is, again, indistinguishable from being a rock. So it's like they live in a whole realm where the body is made of stone. It's like the body of the Gorons is mimicking the idea of being made of stone. And then King Dodongo also echoes this idea of the body being made of rock. And then the dungeon itself is also a body, but a body that is made of rock. Anyway, so I think that those are my cases for saying that there is something about this whole area that also echoes the idea of being inside a body, even though it's not a real body, even though it's not a flesh and bones body, but a rock body. But in any case, if that was so, all three dungeons echo the idea of entering into a body. All three dungeons take place inside a body. Okay, so that's something I wanted to point out. I found interesting. Then, the other thing that becomes like apparent to me in some way is that the first body you explore is dark. I think a lot of that dungeon, of the Deku Tree dungeon, requires turning fire lamps on to shine light into the darkness. So even though the player, you can see most of what's happening in that dungeon, the dungeon is designed in such a way, I think, as to create the idea that even though you, the player, can see everything, the dungeon is playing with the idea that it is a dark dungeon, a dungeon that requires a lot of light and fire to be visible. And I think this becomes directly... The place where this becomes explicit, in my opinion, is when you're fighting Queen Gorma. Because it literally is a pitch dark room where an eye opens up, right? As I said, an eye opens up in the middle of that darkness, and suddenly you see the room. So the sense I get is, oh, okay, this is the inside of a body, but you can't really see it very clearly. It's very dark. In that sense, it's very dark. And also, even the places where you can see the dungeon perfectly well, it doesn't really feel like you're inside a body. It feels like you're inside a place. Also, because Link lives inside a tree, the whole of the Kokiri forest people seem to live inside trees, so it's like trees are more like places than bodies for this culture. And for us, the player, as well, I would say, right? Right, for the human players of this game, at least. I don't know, maybe it's played in other dimensions. But so you're inside this tree, and it's this place. It's a place made of rock and wood, and there's like little streams of water. It's just a place. It's not really a body, and it's dark. So you don't identify it as a body, and you don't really see it either. Again, it's mimicking, in my opinion, the idea that it is not very clear. Then you jump to the last dungeon, and it's the complete opposite. You're inside a body, and it is 100% obvious that you're inside a body. You know, it's obvious. You can't escape from that realization. Anywhere you look, you can't escape from that realization. It's fleshy, sort of squelchy little holes in the ground. There's dangling little, ganglious things from the ceiling. There's veins. There's sort of muscles. It is very obviously a body. And it's pretty bright too, which is funny because you're inside literally a body. I don't think there are many sources of light, but it's like it shines with the radiance of being a body. Like everything is illuminated starkly. Again, almost with the sense of you can't run away from this realization. It's sort of like a claustrophobic sense of being inside a body. So I just sort of felt, and again, the Dodongo's Cavern is the one that sits in the middle in some way that I can't quite place exactly. But I get the sense that there is also this sort of transition by which things start in an unclear way. You can't see and you can't identify. And then it becomes obvious. You can see, you can identify, right? At the start, it's like, what's this? Is this? Am I inside a body? What? And then at the end, it's like, yes, I'm inside a body. It's clear. I can see it. I'm aware of this. It's like a growth in visibility and perhaps awareness of one situation. At the end, inside Jabu Jabu's belly, it's like, oh, right, I am inside a body, See, one way that maybe the Dodongo's Cavern sits in this is that Dodongo's Cavern, even though it's an effigy of a beast, even though it's a stone or bone recreation of a beast, it still, I think, creates the sense of being devoured by a beast much more realistically than the Deku Tree did. Because the Deku Tree is constantly presented as like how do I say it? The Deku Tree's mouth is not really the mouth of a beast that is devouring you. It has no teeth. It's not a really big mouth. It's not that scary. It's just like an entrance. You're going into the Deku Tree's mouth like a doctor would go into someone's mouth to explore, right? That's literally what you're doing. You're going in there to try and heal the Deku Tree. There's not a sense of, oh, the Deku Tree is devouring me. There's a sense of, I am going into the Deku Tree. I'm choosing to go in here. Then the Dodongo Cavern is like, ooh, this is an enormous, spiky, fanged tooth mouth of a beast. And me going into this mouth is like I'm being bitten by this. This is a sense that you didn't get with the Deku Tree. And then this sense with Jabu Jabu gets literally materialized. Like Jabu Jabu doesn't, there's not a sense that Jabu Jabu is eating you in any like ill-intentioned way, but Jabu Jabu clearly opens its mouth, you go in, and then it closes its mouth. And then you're inside and the mouth is closed, right? So it has literally eaten you, which is something that hadn't happened. So again, it's almost like there is a sort of a transition in, I'm not sure how to explain it. It's like there's a transition in degrees of reality, of realism. At first you get this slight intuition of like, I'm kind of being eaten by a beast, but it doesn't really feel like it. It's dark. I can't see it. And it doesn't really feel like I'm inside someone, then Dodongo is like, this represents me being eaten by beast. This kind of looks like me being eaten by beast, and it's threatening territory. This is not the inside of a friendly tree that's protecting me. This is like some unknown place. And then Jabu Jabu's like, oh, I have literally been eaten by a beast. It's clear. I can see it. This is a body. I identify it as a body. And I can see everything. So it's this sort of degree of visibility and degree of realism kind of materializing into the final dungeon. And then the third thing I wanted to talk about sort of relates to this, which is the jewels that you get in each dungeon. I'm very interested in them because each jewel you get under completely different circumstances. And I find that very interesting because you would think that each jewel is just the same. It's just 3 iterations of the same jewel. You get the green jewel and the red jewel and the blue jewel. Okay. But no, because each jewel carries with it a completely different significance within the game, depending on how it's given to you. It serves as a token of something completely different, I think, in each instance. Right. I wanted to try and explore this. So, with the Deku Tree, see, I get the sense that... Okay, just a sec. Right, yeah, exactly. So, the Deku Tree gives you the green jewel simply because, kind of. Like, he's dying, so he can't take care of it anymore, you know? Like, so he might as well give it to someone else to take care of it. So he says, okay, well, here, like, I'll give you this jewel. See, because you're courageous, because, well, I don't know, there is not a strong sense of, you've beaten my dungeon, so you deserve this jewel now. Which is the sense you get in a Goron place, for example. Just to contrast these two for a second. Goron place. You ask for the red jewel. The Goron boss says, no, I'm not giving you the jewel because you haven't proven to me that you deserve it, that you deserve this jewel. You go into the Dodongo's cavern, you beat the beast, you come back, and then the boss is like, okay, wow, you have earned my respect. You are now a member of our community. Like, you are now welcome here whenever you want. Here, take this jewel as a token of, like, my respect for you. So that's interesting, because that's a completely different way of giving that jewel. It's like, yes, here's the jewel. I could give it to you, but I won't. Because I want you to earn my respect. Then you earn the Goron respect. It's like, okay, here, take this jewel. And it's like the jewel then represents this token of respect. It represents this token of, okay, you have done something that for the community or something. You've done something for us that proves to us that you care for us, that you're a good enough person, that you're a good person that does stuff for other people, right? You haven't done this for your own life or your own neighbors. You've done it for us. And you've proven to be courageous in the act of doing it, which also makes us respect you. And so what happens is, okay, now Link, you are a Goron. Like, they call him brother and stuff. It's like, now you are part of our family. You've earned your place within our family because you've proven to us that you deserve our respect because you have acted like good towards us. You've acted ethically and you've acted valiantly and all these things, right? So as a proof of all this, here, take this stone. The stone, it's almost like it represents that. It is a token of this. With the Deku tree, it's not that at all. It's almost like, Link, you just had a crazy dream, and I, the Deku tree, have spoken to you in your dream. You've, a fairy has come and taken you to me. Now you're here in front of me, Link. And I'm dying anyway. So here, take the stone. It's your destiny to save Hyrule. You're the one who's destined to defeat the shadows and so on. There's a whole sort of more mythological, dreamlike, like grandiose aspect to this. The green jewel then is not a token of, okay, Link, you've proven to me that you're a good person. No. It's, the sense I get from it is, Link, it is your destiny to have this stone. Like, I would have given it to you no matter what, because it was, all of this was just written. All of this was just destined. Like, you would have had the dream and you would have seen me. And there is more of a sense of what the stone represents is our fated relationship. You see, you didn't have to earn it. You didn't have to do anything. It's just, it's this sort of fated relationship. I don't know how to describe it. Maybe if we put it into contrast with the third stone, we can see something else. Ruto gives you the blue stone. And suddenly the reason she's giving you the blue stone is because she likes you. And because she feels that you will marry, that you two will marry, that you will get married, right? So the blue stone is like a wedding ring. It represents something completely different from the other stones. This stone represents our bond of marriage, right? And it represents the love that we feel for one another. So see, the way this is different, I think, is because this blue stone isn't like the Goron stone. It's not like, oh, you've proven to me that you're worthy of respect, that you're a good member of the community and so on, and that's why I will marry you. No, there is also a slight fated element here. It's like, I like you. I like you. It's not just the Goron stone represents the fact that Link is a brother of the Gorons, that Link is a member of the family or of the community. It represents in the sense that Link is one more Goron out of all the Gorons. He's not a special Goron or an inferior Goron. He's like equal. All of us together are Gorons. And this stone proves that you are one of them. You're one of the us. And, we will respect you and we will love you, but we won't love you more than this other Goron. And we won't love this other Goron more than you. No, we're all in it together. And we're all, together worthy of each other's respect. With Ruto and this idea of love and marriage, it's more the sense of, yes, all of the people in my life deserve my love and respect. I will love all the Zoras in my community, or anyone, right? But you, Link, I especially like you. You see, I lift you from the rest, and treat you as an individual who is different from everyone else. The Gorons is like we're all individuals, but we're all represented as being equal. And here it's like, no, yes, everyone is cool, but I feel a personal connection to you that is special. Like, there is a way in which my relationship with you is different from my relationship with other people. I think this represents like the way in which you have a unique relationship with each person, right? In the Gorons, this is not present. Here, it's like, okay, yes, there is a unique sort of relationship with you, because I see that you are specifically you. You're specifically you. You're different from that person and that other person, and these are the reasons why I like you. I am drawn to you. I'm attracted to you. So love, marriage. Boom. And then childhood ends. That's the end of the childhood section of the game. So that's very interesting, because again, there seems to be this sort of transition throughout the dungeons where Link at the start in the Deku Tree is not an individual. In fact, Link is barely even a person. Link is like a coordinate in space and time. It's just like a fated event, I feel. It's like, I'm giving you this green stone not because it's you, Link of Kokiri Forest. It's because the relationship we have is one of fate. Your dreams point to it, and all this. Yes, you are the boy without a fairy, but I don't think. See, the boy without a fairy could be anyone. That's, I think, what I'm trying to point to. It could be anyone from Kokiri Forest. It just so happened to be Link. Like, there's nothing about Link and Link's personality and Link's tastes and Link's dislikes and Link's different quirks and personality traits that makes the Deku Tree be like, aha, you are the person I am giving the stone to. No, there is nothing individually unique about Link, the person, that makes the Deku Tree give the stone. It's Link, the role that Link plays, which is the role of the boy without a fairy. This role is a role that is fated. It's a role that was fated forever, right? To be the one who would save the world. So I feel as if at the start, Link is not an individual. Link is just like the relationship is one of fate. Link is not individuated from out of this thick interconnected web of fate, right? All these events are interconnected, right? And you were drawn to me and I was drawn to you, and our dreams connected us together. And there are these lines of fate that are interconnected, and these streams of fate. And Link is simply like, Link just happens to be floating in this stream of fate. You see, Link just happens to be floating in the stream of fate. The reason why Link receives the stone is because he happens to be in that place at that moment, right? He happens to fulfill that specific role that fate has given him, right? That somehow the specific position in the story, in space-time continuum, in reality, the specific position that he occupies is the position in which he receives that stone, in which he receives that relationship to the world, to the Deku Tree. I feel that something like that is happening. That Link starts off receiving the stone as a token of destiny. You, the boy without a fairy, you will fulfill this. You are on this quest. and this is the situation you find yourself in. Okay. But it's not really a person. Then the Gorons come in, and it's like, yes, you are a person. You individuate a little bit. And see, this sort of echoes the transition of the dungeons, right? The second dungeon is a little more like a body, like an individual, than the first one was in some way, right? The second dungeon is more like a mouth and teeth, and there's slightly more kind of like animal body sense to it than the Daegu tree. The Daegu tree is this sort of like pure angelical body that's just wood. It's nature, right? It's nature in this way that's like, that feels, it's like nature in the way that it presents itself to us when we feel like we're not it or something. It's like, I'm a tree. You Link are a body, an animal body, but I'm a tree. So we're not like the same kind of body. We're not the same kind of thing. Dodongo is like, okay, this is a beast. This has teeth and a mouth and a nose. It's slightly more bodily and animal. So the individual starts to like present itself, starts to carve itself out of rock, right? It's like, this was rock before, but now it's starting to take the shape of an animal, which identifies with me, right? That I am that. I am an animal with a mouth and with teeth and so on. So and then that's like this transition where the Gorons are saying, oh, Link, here, take this stone, and take it not because you're the boy without a fairy or because of your specific like role in destiny and so on. No, it's not because it was your destiny. It's because you have earned this with your actions. You could have not earned it. So it wasn't really your destiny. You could have not earned it. There is more of an acknowledgement of, Link, you are one of us. You are a person. You're not just a flow of time and space. You're not just one of the streams in the flow of destiny. You're a specific person. But still, you are one person amongst a huge like body of people. You're a person, but you're just like one person. And then the individuation happens even more with Ruto. It's like, oh, take this token as a sign of the fact that you're not just one person. You are this person. You are Link, and I like you, right? So in giving you the stone, I am individuating you even more. It's like, no. It's not because, you acted well towards your community and you were ethical and good and courageous and therefore, here, like, I present to you this token. No, it's a little beyond that. It's, I like you because of your little quirks and the way that you talk, and like it's a specific thing that right, that individuates Link. So I think that there is this path in which the giving of the stones slightly represents these sort of transitions in relationship. It's a relationship of pure like abstraction, then slightly more concrete, and then even more concrete. Individuated, boom, and then childhood ends, right? Then you become like an adult, and it's almost like being an adult in this game, maybe, but I haven't looked into the rest of the game. But I suppose that being an adult represents like the culmination of this process of having become an individual, a person, of becoming slightly more individuated from the world than you were at the beginning in your sort of, fated state. And so I think that's why, like, again, the dungeons are doing this thing where it's like, first, it's dark, I can't quite see it. I can't see that this is the inside of a person. then you're like, oh, this is the inside of a person. And then Jabu Jabu's like, ah, this is the inside of a person. I am inside a person. You know? So anyway, yeah, I think that's something that's happening in this game. And thanks for listening. And that's it. And we will continue talking about it sometime. Okay. Goodbye.